think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight, wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts. So during the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night, under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubt that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubt. And I have my doubt that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubt. But to wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. So roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubt that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubt. And I have my doubt that we'll make it back out. And I have my doubt. So I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. And I have my doubt that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubt. And I have my doubt that we'll make it back up. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. The things I think, well, I lie awake and contemplate tonight. Wearing me out.
Matthew 25. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps, and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps, and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose, and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you. But go ye rather to them that sell, and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man travelling into a far country, who called his own servants, and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents. And likewise he that had received 2, he also gained other 2. But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth, and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh, and reckoneth with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came, and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art an hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went, and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents. For to every one that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee an hungered, and fed thee, or thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger, and took thee in, or naked, and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me not in. Naked, and ye clothed me not. Sick, and in prison, and ye visited me not. Then shall they also answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee an hungered, or athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal.
Good morning. Good Friday. Well, not Good Friday, but Happy Friday. It's September the 25th, 2015. Welcome to the Watchman News. I'm your host, Mike Callahan. This is probably one of the least prepared shows that I have, but that's okay. I can fill up an hour anyway. No, actually, I do have some good stuff for you. Don't let that scare you away. I looked for a Bible or a Bible chapter, a verse chapter that had to do with preparation. And the reason why I chose preparation as a topic of focus today is because anybody that's probably watching this already knows maybe not everything that's going on in the world. I don't even know everything that's going on in the world, but you got a pretty good idea that there's a lot going on to where globally we're on very shaky ground. And so I wanted to pick a Bible chapter that had to do with being prepared and what happens if you're not prepared. And so I figured this would probably be about the best one that I could just think of to mind. Look, there's simple things that people can do. If you're new into this, if you're just starting out into this, I know how it can look like a mountain. I used to have all kinds of things in preparation for any type of event, whether it be man-made, natural, whatever the case may be. I had solar panels, I had a battery bank, I had, stored foods, and I lost it all. I lost every single bit of it. It's a shame. It was a matter of a marriage gone wrong, and it happened down in Alabama. I'm actually from Illinois. I had to come back up to Illinois. No way to go get my stuff. My previous landlord wouldn't work with me to be able to get my stuff if I could find a way down there. So I lost everything. I mean, everything. And I had literally thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of stuff stored away that I had in preparation. And a lot of it wasn't, I didn't buy one of something. I bought a case of something. Because it's not just about me, it's about others that I can help. And so I lost all of that. Since then, that's been a little over a year and a half ago. And since then, I have had a huge struggle to get back any parts of my life whatsoever. I am now starting to get the opportunity to get a little bit of it together. And the reason why I told you that is because I wanted you to understand that although that I've been a quote unquote prepper for say 6 years, I'm starting over. Materialistically, I am completely starting over. So yesterday, I was able to get my first bit of food supplies to replenish. And, I'll tell you, I went to the store we all hate. I don't even want to mention their name, but it starts with a W. And I got a 20-pound bag of rice. It was like $8 and some odd cents. They had cans of beef stew for, I don't know, it was maybe 2 and some change or something. Now you can take about a half a pound of rice, mix it with one of those cans of beef stew, and at least get enough substance in you for the day to keep you going. So it doesn't take a fortune. And although I've always suggested that people have, 6 months is a great target to have supplies to be able to make it. 6 months is a great goal. But if you can't do that, if you can do 6 days, do it. Do it. I know a lot of people, they think, oh, well, I can go hunt, or I can fish, or I can do this, or I can do that. Let me tell you something. You don't know the situation you're going to be in. You don't know. The waters, for whatever reason, might not be suitable to fish or eat the fish out of. The situation that you're in might not allow for you to hunt or trap. You may not be able to be seen, for instance. You may have to, be dug in somewhere and stay out of sight for a little period of time. You have no idea what kind of circumstances you're going to be in. So it's better to be, the least bit prepared so that you can, overcome these obstacles. Even if what we look at as a minor obstacle today could be an enormous obstacle in the future. So it's something to think about. Be prepared. A lot of people, it's Friday, a lot of people get paid today. Go out and get you some rice. Go out and get you some beef stew. Go out and get you just things that you could make up simple meals with. Go out and, get you a couple of cases of bottled water. It's not that expensive. Make an effort. Because you know what? Maybe 6 days is all you need before you can get out and hunt or trap or fish. But 6 days is a long time without food. A long time. And it only takes 2 to 3 of those days before your mind starts to really act up and you can't think clearly and you know. So just do what you can do. Prepare what you can prepare. Because if you don't, it could be horrible. It could be horrible. Even if it's something that is, like I say, a minor obstacle. A minor obstacle. So, with that, let's go on and let's get to suspicious observers. And like I told you, I am the least prepared today. Because, hey, sometimes we do that. So, okay, so I'm just going to whip up, we're going to do suspicious observers. And then I got some other goodies for you. Some interesting stuff with the economy and whatnot. Let's see. And a little bit of a discussion and warning from Patriot Nurse if you happen to have her. Oh, wow. See, and this stuff is just popping up, 8 minutes ago, Realist News. He's somebody, Jason at 4. I played a video yesterday from him. U.S. Mint cuts another 20% allocation of precious metals. What happens to bonds and markets when rates rise? I mean, this guy is really on the ball with this stuff. So you get to see my YouTube here a little bit, some of the people that I have that I follow. So anyway, without further ado, this is Suspicious Observers for today.
Good morning, folks. We're looking at a relatively calm 24 hours of the Earth-facing side of the sun. The most violent events of the last day were surface surges for the most part. We did get one little pop at the incoming sunspot group, but I can't even tell you for sure there was a CME. And that huge plasma filament has stayed put and begins to approach the departing limb. As we get to the solar flaring at spaceweathernews.com, we see it's still on the lower end despite some minor C flares. The sunspot number is exploding right now, however, with 5 new sunspot development areas, but the primaries are now also gaining magnetic mixing. I wouldn't go so far as to call Delta-class magnetism at the moment, but that could happen within hours. Lots of beta polarity as potential flare makers. After 10 days without a gamma ray burst, We got one from Libra this morning. The solar wind is pretty much stable, but a coronal hole stream impact is expected today, so geomagnetic storms could ensue. We're under that alert today. A significant uptick in seismicity took place, starting with one well above average on the west coast of Canada. Then a near 7-pointer struck Indonesia, followed by a 6.0 in the Solomon Islands. Note the exact location of that larger quake, and just like we've seen in Mexico many times, on that exact longitude, we find the strongest storm in the Pacific. That is an impressive Earth spot, but also impressive is the alignment of the earthquake zones. Boom, boom, and then the third one, right on that same line. The only earthquake factors at play here are the southern bits of the coronal hole, which does extend down into the southern solar polar fields. And just like we saw with the northern polar field surge before the Chile earthquake last week, a surge has occurred in the southern solar polar fields in the lead up to yesterday's uptick. Let's start today's top articles with a riddle. What's the risk of moving on to steps 2 and 3 without fully completing step 1? Well, it can go a little something like, mainstream science now realizes they have to rethink an enormous portion of, quote, black hole science, because gravity waves must be present under current science, a fundamental prediction, and yet now we have very convincing evidence that they are just not there. A big point for electric enthusiasts. 2 atmospheric notes. First, we're getting more confirmation that human emissions tend to pale in comparison to natural sources. And second, add to the hundreds of papers on solar climate forcing that have come out over the last half-decade. Both are linked for you below. Along with this National Geographic article, they've got some photos that will utterly stun you. That's just one of them. Also, NASA claims a Mars mystery has been solved. Unfortunately, the information is embargoed till Monday, so I was open for it. Website members, I hope you remember how to read that solar wind speed chart I showed earlier to gauge the quake factors, but if not, please remember that your guide to using them is Deeper Look episode 78 at suspiciousobservers.org. It also shows you how we did the analysis for the Chile quake. Top weather alert in the U.S. It's from that east coast low. There will be storms down there and over to the convergence off the central low. It's the last day for that northern convergence in Europe, and our focus is shifting to the Mediterranean there. Down under, it's that same western convergence line bringing flood potential for the next few days. Folks, we are just a few weeks away from observing the frontier. If you are in western Pennsylvania or anywhere nearby and you can make it out October 17th and 18th, it's Observers Weekend in Pittsburgh and the place to be for the frontier of our community's most interesting topics. We've got your current conditions and shots of our star to close. It's 6:05 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Eyes open. No fear. Be safe, everyone.
Did want to comment on one of the things he talked about. He was talking about black holes, and they were saying that there's no evidence. So I had to run to another room real quick and back. I'm out of breath. So he was saying there was no evidence of black holes, of gravity at black holes. Well, it's my theory that there really is no such thing as gravity. And I'm not going to get all in this flat earth debacle and whatever you want to call that. I don't believe the earth is flat. But I will say that I think it's magnetism. I agree with Ben Davidson about it being an electric universe, and I believe it's magnetism. If you didn't know, electricity and magnetism go hand in hand with one another. So it only makes sense that it would be magnetism. Water itself is magnetic to an extent. Almost everything has some type of magnetism in it, because everything has some type of an electrical charge. So therefore, it has to be at least remotely magnetic. So it's just food for thought, just one of my theories. Anyway, let's go ahead and get on with things. I was talking about being ready and being prepared, and we've got a lot going on in the world. And so I wanted to show you a little bit of that. This was interesting. This the Realist News he had posted, and It's very interesting. This is the Fed chair, Janet Yellen, and she acts very strange when she's giving this report. I mean, very, very strange. Almost like she almost looked like she might pass out or something during part of it. It was very, very interesting. Hang on just a second. Let me go ahead and start this, and I'll be right with you.
As I noted, most of my colleagues and I anticipate that economic conditions are likely to warrant raising short-term interest rates at a quite gradual pace over the next few years. For most FOMC participants, including myself, we currently anticipate that achieving these conditions will likely entail an increase in the federal funds rate later this year, followed by a gradual pace of tightening thereafter. But if the economy surprises us, our judgments about appropriate monetary policy will, of course, change. So let me stop there. Thank you. Inflation will return, and the influence of lower energy prices and inflation below our goal. I expect this to occur as the temporary factors that are currently weighing on inflation wane, provided that economic growth continues to be strong enough to complete the return of the economy to full employment and to return to full employment, and long-run expectations remain well anchored. For most FOMC participants, including myself, we currently anticipate that achieving these conditions will likely entail an increase in the federal funds rate later this year, followed by a gradual pace of tightening thereafter. But if the economy surprises us, our judgments about appropriate monetary policy will, of course, change. So let me stop there. Thank you.
You okay? Let me help you off the stage.
Very interesting, as you could see. She almost, like I say, she almost looked like she was maybe about ready to pass out or whatnot. And Jason Four, he goes into, you know, about the psychological signs of someone lying and whatnot. And I don't necessarily agree exactly, but there's a lot of factors to tell when somebody's lying, and you can't necessarily just read that out of a book and apply it to life, because a lot of the same signs of someone speaking nervously show up. And right now I'm doing it, saying and I'm not lying. You know, that was one of the things he had pointed out. Somebody that like stammers a little bit and stuff. But some people just naturally do that. Some people do that when they're nervous. Some people do that when they're thinking. You know, I'm not a public speaker. I'm trying to formulate my words correctly to sound, you know, at least halfway intelligible about the subject. And that's why I'm stammering a little bit. I normally do that when I speak because I'm not used to public speaking. I'm not a public speaker. You know, I'm here because the Lord asked me to be here, and you know that's why I'm here. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Him asking me. I'm not a public speaker, but anyway, I do know that she was very heavily. It appears she was very heavily stressed with what she was saying. It appears that she was withholding quite a bit of knowledge about what she was talking about, and it's definitely a sign, I think, that we need to pay attention to and pick up on. We are not doing good economically. We are not, and like I had showed you, he had just had a couple more videos. If you're not subscribed to JSNIP4, you might want to do so. By no means wait for me to come out with news or anybody else. If you can subscribe to some of these people like JSNIP4, it's a good one to be subscribed to, because he comes out with some hard hitting facts about the market, about precious metals and whatnot. He just did another one. Wow. So I don't know. I guess he's talking more on that. I'll have to watch that after the show here. Very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. X22 report, another good one. Except he's kind of a fear monger with it. I try to stay away from fear mongers, and I tell people, in those that I do have in my subscriptions, I hold with a lot of discernment. They have good information. Sometimes they just kind of fear it up a little bit to try and get those views, I believe. But anyway, I've got a pretty good list here of people to follow. So I can kind of slowly, I don't know if that's all of them. Some of them are just not related to like the end of the world or something like that. Some of it's just stuff like True Ray Smile. She's a beautiful, wonderful woman. And I love to hear what she's got to say on a lot of things. So, but I just kind of slowly scroll through with somebody, if you guys possibly want to look at my list and, add. Some of it's for Photoshop stuff and, But anyway, we'll go ahead and get on with it. I do have another video for you. Patriot Nurse. She came out. She's another one. Very good one to have on your list. And she came out with a video with her boyfriend, fiance. I don't know if they're engaged or not. I haven't really been closely watching a lot of her videos. I just caught this one this morning. I thought it was very, very well done, very accurate, very straight to the point. And I figured I would share it because that's what we need to do. We need to share information. We need to share it with our friends, our loved ones, everybody, family, coworkers, you name it. Share information like crazy. Yeah, you're going to get a lot of looks. You're going to get a lot of this guy's nuts or this woman's nuts or, don't worry about that. Blow your horn, because if you don't, and you're aware of this, that could have some implications too. So, get out there, try to spread the information. There's a lot of people that are waking up. I mean, there is a lot of people waking up, and it's a lot easier these days to talk to people about different things that's going on in the government and in the world, because a lot of people are starting to see it with their own eyes. And they're starting to start that quest for information, or they might just be a little curious, or, so get out there and talk to people, and even talk to the people that don't seem interested, because, at least then when it happens or starts to happen, the big fall, so to speak, that'll come up in their head and they'll be like, oh, okay, well, this must be what's going on. I better do this, this, and this, and this. I'd rather at least, it'd be better to have somebody realize that they need to start doing certain things at the beginning of serious turmoil than have that turmoil set in when there is nothing left that they can do. at that time. So yeah, I hope I made a little bit of sense there. I did in my head, but anyway, let me go ahead and play. This is titled Get Ready and Get Prepared. It's by the Patriot Nurse. She is another one. I thought I already hit that. See, I just subscribed. I had another channel that I was subscribed to on her, and that's why I hadn't seen her. I like her Facebook page, and I seen a article on there. So anyway, I'll get on with it. This is Patriot Nurse and her boyfriend / fiance, whatever he is, and it's a very good video. 12-minute video. Enjoy it. I'll be back right after.
Hello everyone, Reed Nurse of Valor Ridge.
And Patriot Nurse.
In today's video we're going to talk about our current situation in the United States of America because it's September 11th, 2015, and it's 14 years ago, and it literally seems just like yesterday that it happened. We were doing a lot of thinking today. I woke up, it was the first thing on my mind was that it was September 11th and how far things have come in the last 14 years. A lot has changed. And we started talking amongst ourselves this morning, and I said, well, man, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on.
There's a lot that's been going on. There's a lot of news. There's a lot of things that are, a lot of pieces that are moving right now, a lot of things that are scheduled to happen in the next few weeks. And it kind of got us into a little mode of reflection here. So we wanted to talk about some of the current events with you guys and ask the question.
Are things getting better or worse in this country? Have things gotten better or worse lately, or within the past decade, or within the last 50 years? I want you to ask that question. Have things gotten better or worse overall? Not your little pet issue, but overall for the American people. Do we have more freedom or less? And I want you to ask that question. It's kind of a thing for reflection. I mean, I don't know how anybody with a sane mind, literally anybody with a sane, reflective mind, could look back and say, oh, we're better off. We're better off as a nation. We're better off. Wait, our government's really listening to us, man. Really, really respecting our wishes and our desires, and really respects the Constitution and its limitations. I just think about that.
Healthcare is in shambles. We have borders that are not.
Well, that can't be. It's affordable for everybody now.
Oh, absolutely. I know mine tripled.
Yeah, I know I lost mine. Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate that. But I'll tell you something. It's pretty crazy. So, in the cycle of history. In all the cycles of history, rising, falling, ebbs and flows, high tide, low tide, all those cycles of history, where's the United States at right now? Are we a rising tide or are we an ebbing tide? And I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think that you could look at the situation objectively and say anything other than we're in a major decline.
Okay. Are you talking about a decline economically? Are you talking about a decline morally? Are you talking about
in every facet? I see that we have become a far cry. Like I posted this up on my Facebook the other day. I hear people say, oh, the founding fathers would be rolling in the graves. No, they'd be retching their guts out at what we've become.
Yeah. So before you guys and gals out there are saying, well, we need to return, to the founding principle of this country and our Constitution. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. But what are our founding principles? And I want you to think about this, and I want you to sit down and really reflect inwardly about what our founding principles are, and furthermore, what kind of men overall were our founding fathers? Were they men that said, were these guys leaders and men that said, you know what, we're going to do whatever we want to, and we're not going to follow any kind of moral standard? Or were these people that opened the Constitutional Convention with prayer? Are these people that in their own personal writings and in the writings of every legal document you can see that they ask for the hand of providence in all of their endeavors? I want you to answer that question. All you intellectuals out there that are these brilliant scholars, you tend to ignore that. You tend to ignore the fact that people that gave every ounce of their time to this country, people like John Adams, who said our Constitution is made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the purposes of any other. Think about that. Think about the fact that, guys like Noah Webster openly professed it. And I love out there and like amateur guys will be like, oh, the founding fathers were deists and atheists. Well, first of all, you're absolutely almost 100% false, inaccurately wrong. Most of them had a standard by which they lived their lives. Most of them were practicing people that followed scriptures daily. You know, when George Washington was sworn in, he put his left hand on the Bible and added, "So help me God," to his inaugural oath. He's the one that added that. That's why every president after that says that. "So help me God," because George Washington said that. So I don't know. I mean, guess maybe
separation of church and state.
Yeah, separation of church and state. That's right.
The Bible has no place in our documents. Has no place in our country whatsoever. Right?
Well, I don't know. Benjamin Franklin seemed to disagree after the Constitutional Convention, but maybe people just would ignore what Benjamin Franklin said. Although that's pretty popular nowadays, ignoring what the founding fathers said.
So here's the question then: what is the hope for return? What is the hope for restoration for our nation? Is there hope for it, given where we're at here in the cycle of history?
Well,
where do we sit in the cycle of history? The Tytler cycle that you've referred to in several.
I would say that we're like right on the cusp of dependency and bondage. I'd say we're smack dab right in the middle of dependency and bondage as of that. You know, kind of going back exactly where we came from right before the American Revolution. We were, you know, the colonists were dependent and held in bondage by Parliament and the king. You know, just like we're held in bondage by our Congress and by our president. You know.
Who no longer care what their constituents actually wish for, but are more concerned with lining their own pockets and protecting their pet issues.
Forming a legacy, making their mark on history, right? But for people that are actually in it and actually study, I want thinkers. I want people that are absolutely thinking about this. I want people that are responsible scholars. You know, I want people that are not going to let the ways of the world dictate what they say or what they do not say. Now, I'm sorry, but, you know, I think the biggest thing that we can do at this point, so you're basically asking, are we screwed right now?
Yeah.
That's basically what you're saying. I don't think we're screwed like 100%, but I'd say it's probably like a 9 out of 10 shot. Then unless like we totally
about face
and turn our back towards all the things that have happened in the past, you know, 50 to 100 years. I think unless we do that, then it's going to get real bad, and we'll continue to do so.
What was it that Adam said, that what was the quote about only being to a virtuous?
Yeah. He said, our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the purposes of any other.
So I guess pretty much what people would have to do is to return to the root then.
Well, they don't certainly have to return the principles of natural law, you know, which is what our founders followed as well. And that is the fact that you have to get outside of yourself and acknowledge that there is a creator, that there are and have been principles of every country, of every empire that have followed these principles. And when they fail to follow those principles, then they decline and fall.
So basically there are consequences for our actions.
There are consequences there are definitely consequences of, and most certainly a lack of prosperity for people that reject that idea, for sure. I mean, unless you like want to ignore the past like 10 great civilizations.
So at this point, now, my question would be, if I was sitting out there, you know, with my subscribers, I hear this in class and people are like, so what do we do here? You know, like, let's own the fact that the chance is here, and I'm willing to hold out the chance that we will have a strong remnant and a root in this nation that will turn from what's happening and will embrace scripture and will embrace living by the Bible, which is what our founders did. But what should we do in the meantime then?
Well, I'll most certainly prepare for, you know, things to get shaken up a little bit.
Let me ask you, what happened when the Senate in Rome, like when the Senate ceased to be representative of the people and was more a reflection of the personal interests of the guys?
Themselves?
Yeah. What happened? What did that look like for the average person when things collapsed?
Total disrespect of property. Property rights, total disrespecting of property rights.
So basically people, when the rule of law ceased to be in effect, they started taking what they wanted.
Yeah, government started taking from other people whatever they wanted. And then, of course, you had anarchy, and then you had infighting and one faction against the other, and it's basically just a big civil war of like multiple moving parts.
So how would you recommend that people, well, first, like, let's be honest about the problem and do the work there. So the problem is that whenever the government ceases to be representative of the people, whenever the rule of law ceases to be respected, then individual property rights cease to be respected. Personal violence goes up.
Yeah, whatever problems that were there before get amplified, generally speaking. You know, they generally get amplified.
You saw that when you were down in Katrina.
Yeah, I mean, you see that. I mean, the rule of law breaks down. People kind of revert back to their primeval condition. I mean, basically, what it boils down to: associate with people that acknowledge the fact that we've got to steel ourselves physically, mentally, and spiritually. Get with people that believe that. Get with people that see the writing on the wall, so to speak, and are preparing.
That's very appropriate.
Yeah, see the writing on the wall, and they're preparing. They've got their stuff locked down, dialed in. Yeah, and since our leaders have so much trouble understanding economics, it's a trade-off based on scarce resources, and in this case, the scarce resource is time.
So in the meantime, want to encourage you guys. We were just talking about this, and we wanted to get some of these thoughts on camera here. We do want to encourage you guys to prepare. I think it is very safe to say, especially given the cycles of economics, the cycles of history, that the year coming up very soon, starting within the next week, is going to be very pivotal.
Yeah.
And we encourage you guys, if you haven't stored up your food and gotten your water squared away, make sure and do that. If you don't have a way to protect yourself, because after all, when property rights cease to be valued and honored, people decide they want to come and take what's theirs. You need to be able to defend yourselves and your family. And having a gun with a whole bunch of ammunition stocked up, that's not going to cut it unless you know how to use it. And you're probably better to speak to that than I am.
No, you just shoot them in the eye. Works every time. If I can't solve my problem with 6 rounds of .357, it just wasn't my day.
Tell that to your wife and kids, pal.
It's okay. They've got it all figured out.
Yeah. But also, guys, it's important to be able to take care of your family, medically speaking. Okay. You need to be able to, in case of stuff getting really bad, you need to be able to take care of your people at home. Okay. Getting your medical supplies, stored up and squared away. But hello, like if you've got that stuff and you don't know how to use it, you don't know how to problem solve, you don't know how to assess, your supplies are not going to help you. Okay. This is me pleading with you right now. Come out and get some training. Okay. Even if it's not with me. Like get some training in how to assess people, how to take care of people, how to make sure that your folks are okay, These times that are coming up, guys, they're going to be very pivotal, very important. There's going to be a lot of shaking, I think, that's going to be happening very soon. There's a lot that's happening in our nation, specifically New York and Philadelphia, within the next few weeks. Be prepared and be vigilant and let's be in prayer, okay? I don't have a problem, telling people, call to prayer, pray, like be in prayer, be listening, be watching. But we really need to return, I would submit, we need to return to the Word and be grounded in that. It's the one thing for X number of thousand years, depending on which chronology you want to use. It's the one thing that is immutable and unchanging despite the nations coming and going.
Guys, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, subscribe to the channel. Like us on Facebook. Our links are down below. Reed Hendricks reminding you, the lessons that we learn are written on the tombstones of others.
Bye.
And that was Patriot Nurse. And I forget what he goes by. I can't quite remember. But I thought it was a very, very well thought out video. I thought it was very accurate with what was being said. And we do need to be prepared in all ways. We need to be ready. Because there's one factor when we look back through history that we really can't gauge properly. And that factor is, there's several factors, but it all equals to bad news. The large population, we have a huge population. Bad news. Our country is much more dependent on things like transportation. And I'm not talking about to get back and forth to work. That's going to be non-existent. I'm talking about the food getting to the stores and supplies. There's not going to be stores. There's not going to be that access. So, a lot of the things are like, even our farmers aren't quite used to growing the crops like they used to, to be able to supply your local areas. Now farmers are, taking their loads to the grain bin, for instance, and a train is taking carloads of feed corn, train carloads of feed corn, for instance, maybe across the country. So, we're not set up like we used to be. So if our economy would collapse, we're going to be in much worse shape than what they were during the Depression. So that's something to pay very close attention to. And like I was saying earlier, you know, if you can't go out and get 6 months worth of food, go out and get 6 days worth of food, 6 days worth of water. Get yourself a water filter. You know, whether it be a little Life Straw, personal water filter, or whether you can afford a Berkey. But, you know, a Life Straw is $20. You know, if you can't afford any of that, if you can come up with some sand, some charcoal, some small gravel, piece of PVC pipe, you can build a filter. You know, go on YouTube and search homemade water filter. You know, there's and I'm going to get the word wrong, a xylem filter or something like that. I think I can spell it XYLEM. I believe that's correct. That you can use a tree branch. Seriously, you can use a tree branch to filter water with. You know, don't forget that with a lot of these water filters, that even though that they may be filtering out harmful bacteria and whatnot, that there could still be chemicals that remain in that water. So it's always good to boil the very water that you filter. So, and that'll help kill the rest of the yuckies in it as well. So it's probably a good idea if you build a water filter that you have a pre-filter. You know, which could consist of anything from, you know, you can make one with coffee filters, or you can make one with a pool filter, just to get the big chunks of stuff out so that it doesn't clog up your primary filter real quick. So these are just little important things to pay attention to be prepared. And like I say, you know, coffee filters are easy to come by. You know, they really are. So maybe pick up an extra pack. Throw it in your supplies. You know, do what you can. Do what you can. If you can only afford a couple cans of food, you know, of beef noodle something, I don't know, whatever, pick them up. Store them away. Whatever you can do. You know, it sure beats throwing your hands up in the air and saying, well, I can't afford all that. Well, no. Believe me, I can't either. But I could afford to get a 20-pound bag of rice and some cans of beef stew. And I got a few cans of Spam. I kind of like Spam. You can do what you can do. Like I say, it sure beats getting down to that 0 day, 0 hour and not having nothing and looking at your family and saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't, you know, spend that extra $5 on canned goods that I got a lottery ticket. You know, winning the lottery is when you can't go to the store and you got that can of ravioli. That's winning the lottery. You know, it's do what you can. If you got membership to Sam's Club, I think that's a national kind of thing all over the place. You know, go there. If you've got the money, go there and buy bulk. Real quick, I'll give you a real quick tip. You know, when you store things like beans and grains and rice and stuff like that, you know, you have to worry about things like weevils and all that stuff. So you need to really pack it in an airtight environment. So there's a little cheap trick that you can use to save yourself a lot of money. They make, I forget what they call them, but they take the oxygen out of something. You can buy them for food preparation and all that, and they're pretty pricey. Well, you can get the same thing for a lot cheaper, and it's commonly known as a hand warmer. I think one of the brand names is Hot Hands or something. And you can pick them up, you know, get them online, get them, you know, I know Walmart will probably be having them pretty quick here if they don't already. They're called hot hands, come like in an orange package, or they used to. You just open up one of those. You put your rice, your grain, your beans, whatever, inside a 5-gallon bucket that, one that will seal good. And you put your food supplies in the bucket. You open that hot hands pack up. You throw it in there. You put the lid down tight. The chemical reaction caused by the ingredients in that packet will remove the oxygen out of that bucket. So, and it's a lot cheaper to go that route than getting the ones that are specifically designated for that. So, and as far as I know, it's the same thing. There's no difference. So anyway, that's what I've got for you today. I know not a lot of news today, but hopefully a lot of information. So, and that's what's important, that we get this information out. Again, talk to those around you. Please share our Facebook page. There's still quite a few people joining it. I have been shocked the last 2-3 days at the amount of people joining it. I believe we're up to 160 people now, which I know isn't thousands or nothing like that, but we were setting like around 120 just like 2 or 3 days ago. So just all of a sudden, we've gotten a bunch of new members. So please, if you're on Facebook, share the Watchman News Facebook page. The link's down in the About tab. Check out what we're trying to do with transforming disabilities. Hey, if the world doesn't go all crazy, we're trying to help out some disabled people. My beautiful girlfriend that you see in the image there, she suffers from cerebral palsy. She's probably one of the most determined, hardest working people I've ever seen. She works 37.5 hours a week. She doesn't know what give up means. And, I suffer from very high anxiety and whatnot. And, so trying to put our minds together. She's got a wonderful mind. And we're trying to put our minds together and be able to help out other disabled people. Put other disabled people to work, those that, are able. So that's our goal. That's what we're doing. So we're not in it to make a bunch of money, but check out our Facebook page. We've got a GoFundMe page. You can see the links on the thing. I'm not really trying to plug something or sell something, just trying to spread information. And hope we're sitting on $0 in donations so far on the GoFundMe. My computer was down for a while though, so I hadn't been able to do a whole lot. So that's what I have for you. I thank you for joining us. May God bless you all. I love you all. Always, always be one with your spirit. If you haven't talked to God lately, please sit down, kneel, turn out all the lights, turn off all the electronic devices, turn off everything, and turn on God. Speak to him. He will tell you. He'll tell you what time it is. With that, be at peace, be with love, and I'll talk to you Monday.